Monday.
Yay. Oh, boy.
Hmm.
How's it going?
Bengals won.
Oh, good.
They're 1-2. They should be 3-0, but here we are.
Sure.
In a cruel twist of fate, the Dolphins are now 3-0, which nobody predicted ever, but good for them.
Every year's a different year.
Technically true in all regards.
Intelligently.
Next up, you're going to say tomorrow's not today, and 2 for 2 throughout.
Some Yankee wisdom in there somewhere.
Yep, so what are you doing with your Apple Watch?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm looking at the top of
so,
throughout.com
I'm
website.
going to keep it.
You are?
Keep it. Yeah, I like the display a lot. I like the way it surfaces information a lot. The things that I care the most about, which are curiously all oxygen blood related, are much
also
easier
important.
to see. Well, I did have a little high altitude problem a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I will say, when I started writing the article, what I was going to write was based on that conversation you and I had, which was like, obviously, for this to make any sense at all, I just have to take it off at night.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, the sleep data it provides is useless. And by useless, I mean I can't do anything about it. Like It's not actionable. That's true of Fitbit too. It's not. It's one of those things. Like my wife stopped doing that with her Fitbit because she couldn't stand it anymore. I kept doing it because I hate myself. And every day I would not every day, but twice a week, I bet I'd have to adjust the times, or it would be like, oh, you were awake for 2 hours in the middle of the night. You're like, no, I wasn't. And then you go to fix it, and it actually has data for that time after you fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So it knew that it was just terrible. But the thing is, like, I know if I slept well, I can tell when I get up. Anyway, but that said, I just got a new power stupid. This is like the stupidest thing in the world, but I just got a new little power strip thing from Anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Has USB ports on it as well. And I plug the Apple Watch charger into that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go upstairs and work in the afternoon, I've been taking it off. Actually, I don't know the exact. Yes, I do. Actually, yesterday it was at exactly 50% when I charged it, and it took about 30 minutes and it was full. Like that's actually pretty fast. Like that's faster than what I had been seeing earlier. So there's something about the power delivery in this thing that's a little better or something. I don't know. I think you need at least 20 watts and something, some measurement of power throughput for 5 watt, something. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so maybe I can just leave it on. But what I'd like to do mentally is just get past this and just put it on there when I go to sleep. Because seriously, it's not doing anything anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Like, what do you do? Like, you wake up, it's like, well, I didn't sleep great last night. There's nothing. I mean, you can try to change your habits, but to your point, you already know when you woke up if you're in a.
Yeah, it's right. I like data. I'm.
Yep.
And I've been tracking it, and I mean, literally for several years. None of which carries forward. It doesn't matter. But I've gotten used to the ring thing. Do you close your rings every single day, like all of them?
It depends. Typically, I try to. It kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Like, if there's days where I'm just unfortunately having to work straight through and I'm sitting all day, it's like, yeah, this isn't happening. But I typically, both my wife and I, we try to.
Yeah, when I go to the gym, obviously, which is 4 or 5 days a week, closing the rings those days is no problem.
Yep.
There was a day last week where I had a webinar on Thursday, and I'm like, I'm never going to close these rings today. But I did, actually, somehow. Even though I didn't go to the gym. I walked the dog in the morning. That's not a big deal. But Saturday, Sunday, I did not go to the gym. Probably should have, actually. But anyway, I didn't. And I got close. I closed 2 of the rings, but not the move ring. The move ring was probably within 100 calories or 120 calories. But I thought, this is a surmountable problem. And then I got up this morning and the watch was like, hey, you missed your move goal 2 of the past 7 days, which honestly I don't think is that bad. So it's like, we're going to move it down. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, why? What am I? I said to my wife, eventually I'm going to get up in the morning and it's like, hey, you did it.
That's kind of what it does.
That's how sedentary you are.
The real fun one that, if you haven't discovered this yet, is Fitness will do a monthly challenge, and it's
Oh,
pretty tailored to you, and it's actually really good. The problem here throughout is uh, every once in a while you got to sandbag a month because, like my wife and I, we did it. We had like
you told me about one of these a long
yeah, it's
time
like
ago.
18 months in a row of closing all of them, and then it was some
Yeah,
like my wife's this month was something like you have to walk or you have to have 170 miles of extra like movement, which
170 miles.
it was something crazy like that. But there were
Yeah.
times when you like really start hitting those months in a row, it'll be like, hey, you need
It
32
keeps,
minutes of
yeah, it
exercise
keeps
every
escalating,
day.
right?
And it's like, oof.
That is my fear. Because I will have, but I've experienced the opposite. So I think I'm winning Apple Watch because it's really lowering its expectations.
Winning by losing.
Um, I just used it for a week, and it's like, hey, you didn't hit your move goals, and I'm like, I hit them 5 out of 7 days.
Yeah.
I mean, and with lots to spare, it's not like I barely made it, you know?
Oh yeah, there's no award for over. Well, I guess sometimes in the monthly one because like where it typically starts off is like, hey, you got to get, and it's all based on a month, not a day. I shouldn't have said
This
32
is,
miles a day, but it's like you got to have
yeah,
1,000 minutes of exercise in the month. So on those times, then I guess it does reward you for overworking. But
right.
yeah,
This is so if you look, these time frames are largely arbitrary, right?
yeah,
A day is not arbitrary because there's a waking time and a sleeping time, and most people are just whatever, you know, you're awake when you're awake. But the week and the month is kind of arbitrary. But if you say that, like, if you were to say, like, in a given week, um, you need to get X number of whatever points of whatever the thing is,
hmm,
movement, calories, whatever. And one day you're a little light, and one day you're a little over. Honestly, in the context of a week, I mean, again, I'm not a doctor or like a nutritionist or anything, but like that seems healthy to me and normal and it's fine. I don't understand why that's not
oh
fine,
yeah,
but this is a strict day by day thing. And it's like, I could have nailed movement yesterday and come in short today. And it's like, nope, you lost it. It's like,
hmm.
I mean, did I really? But I mean, that's the system. So whatever.
Well, see, here's
It's
what's
not,
going to screw
not
mine
any
up
different than
is
anything else. I mean,
on Saturdays now, my daughter has back-to-back like classes slash lessons, things she wants to do. And so we
mhm,
take her, and it's great because they're linked. So we just drop her off at like
right,
9:45, and we pick her up at 12:15. It's down at the University of Cincinnati on the campus. And so what we do is now my wife and I we drop her off and we just go walk. Like we're walking
right.
like 6-7 miles on
Wow.
Saturdays now, which is
Okay.
fantastic. It's great.
So you kind of do this knowing this is going to be good for this, and that by the time this is over, other than probably standing, because you
yeah.
have to do that once an hour, you've pretty much closed those. And
But the problem here throughout is these monthly challenges is the watchers can be like, oh, Brad and Corinne, they're really pumping up the miles, and then it's going to get cold, and we're not going to want to do this,
yeah, yeah,
and yet
and
the
then you're
watch is going to be
yeah.
like, yep,
Well, hopefully it's smart about those
yeah,
things. I mean, I won't retell the Microsoft Band story, the promise of Microsoft Band, but what you're describing is something that would be possible. It's similar to that story, which is Apple Watch knows about, or Apple, I'll say, knows about things like the temperature.
hmm,
It knows about your schedule, that you did this on particular days, not spread out over the course of a week. It could correlate that data and understand that things might be different when it's 20 degrees out. Maybe, you know,
well,
this is not AI. This is just,
what it really
common
needs to
sense.
do is every February be like, we know you're depressed, it's a terrible time of the year, just get 1 mile in the whole month, and you're done. Like, just give me a freebie.
You get February's a freebie February's. I know.
I hate February. So.
Yeah, it's a tough time. Well, I go to a gym, so I mean, a lot of what I do. Um, I mean, we walk the dog, whatever. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what the weather is for the most part. I mean, unless there's a crazy blizzard or a hurricane or something, well, we're going to walk the dog that day. So
yep,
I don't know. I guess living with the not closing the ring every single day. Like literally one night we were on the couch watching TV. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, man, I'm like 120 calories away. And she's like, "You're gonna start walking around the house?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna start walking around the house." And she's like, "But the Apple Watch is paying attention." And I was like, "Shh, she can hear you." Don't make her mad. She'll raise my goals.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy you're happy, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know if
Call
I'm
of Duty
happy.
Day.
I like the presentation of the data.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay fire. Fitbit puts some things behind a paywall,
Mm.
which it's not a big deal. But it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's better at it. Like I'll get up in the morning and it tells me things. Like my Fitbit experience is I get up in the morning, I walk out with my phone, I try to sync it. It's not working. It's not working. And then it says, sync is taking a while. Hang on, or whatever. It says some stupid thing like that. And it's like, okay, well, it's not going to sync. Like that means it's not going to sync. So I walk away, I go read, come back, I try to sync it again, says the same thing. I'm like, oh, God damn this thing. And then eventually we'll be on the walk. I'll finally get it to sync. And then I'll be like, oh, there's a 2-hour hole in my sleep data. Let me manually fix that. Like, is it wrong that I want something that actually just works?
It's a lot to ask for.
It shouldn't be, right?
Yep.
I want to see this thing puke water out of its side, though. I'm going to go in the water just to see that.
Oh, it doesn't do it like they show in the animations. It just...
It just drools.
I know what you're talking about, where it's like, you're in water now, dude, press the thing, and it makes a little weird noise and the speaker vibrate. Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh, well.
It's not like me in college. Anyways, Call of Duty beta, come and gone.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Is
I
it
enjoyed
over?
it.
Or I thought it was over sometime today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can play it up until 1 o'clock today.
Yeah.
I think
All right. Well, that's not going to work. I have to work in the morning, but
yeah.
For the first time I don't know what I felt in the beginning on these other games, but I'll say for the first time in years, I feel confident that I'm going to be able to play this game. And I'm so happy about that. The UI is a train wreck, like you said. I spent a lot of time just trying to go through it and figure it out. And geez, Louise, I always think back to the original Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, because up to that point or through that game, I would finish the single player campaign before I got into multiplayer. And my son kept telling me, he says, you got to play this. You got to play. You need to get in here. There's a lot going on, So I finally got in. And I'm like, what is going on here? Now there were like loadouts and it got really complicated. I don't know if people remember this, but prior to this, like everyone got the same 3 kill streaks. Like that was
UAV,
like a UAV,
airstrike, and a chopper gunner.
Yeah, something. Yeah, exactly. And this was the game where all of a sudden you could really customize your guns crazily and level up and things, and you could customize the kill streaks. And I don't know if they added perks in this version, probably because it got really complicated. It took me like weeks to get up to speed. Like I was so far behind, And that's what this game feels like. It's complicated, and I've been playing these games it's complicated, but it's all right. You know what? It's okay. The lag and latency stuff is great. The graphics good. I like just the feel of it. It's kind of a weird thing to say. It's hard to explain. I went back to Call of Duty Black Ops 4 right after playing, just to kind of gauge the difference. Obviously, the graphics are a little different, but they both look good. The Black Ops 4 like guns have kind of a more bassy, deeper sound. These are more kind of metal sounding. They're probably more realistic, honestly, because they're based on real weapons. Where I think the ones in Black Ops 4 are probably futuristic, slightly something. But I'm really happy with it. I don't know what else to say. I'm just really happy. It's been a long time since I've been happy.
We'll put an end to that.
The mid-1990s. I think I was happy then once, and then